Dear students, let's get started with our first class. And today in this class, I'm going to discuss about the first unit, first chapter, that is the living world. So in the picture, you can see the incredible art. And all of you know that our art is an unique planet in the whole solar system. The art possesses life, and this life is in various forms on this art. Now, if I ask you, what is life? What will be your answer? Are you going to answer me in poetic language? Or is it going to be a philosophical one? Today, in this class, let's learn about life from biological point of view. So from the point of biology, life is a complex mechanism or interaction of different ions and molecules that shows some chemical activities, and these chemical activities lead us to various life activities which is exhibited by the living world or the living organisms, and we are one among them. Now, what are living organisms? Living organisms are those that have life. So, these living organisms, they show certain characteristics through which we can say that it possesses life. So in this class, let's discuss about those characteristics and the related aspects of the living world. Now let's try to learn the basic characteristics of living organisms. The first characteristic is all living organisms have a definite shape and size. So when I say definite shape and size, that is the shape and size that gives an entity to a particular living organism. Say for example, when I say bacteria, a bacteria is always a unicellular microscopic organism. Now the bacteria, it possesses a certain shape such as round, rod shape, comma shape, etc. And it is generally microscopic. They are so small that we cannot see them with our naked eye. So that is the entity. Similarly, a plant body, it possesses a definite shape of the leaves, of the stem, or we can say a plant body have a definite shoot system and a root system. So that is how we know a plant body to be. Similarly, in case of animals, they also bear a definite shape and a definite size. Say for example, we have two pairs of our limbs, two hands and two legs. We have a distinct head, eyes, nose, teeth, tongue, etc. Similarly, a bird, they bears a definite shape and size. So all the living organisms, they have a definite shape and a size that defines them, and that is the first living characteristics. Now let's come to the second characteristic. That is, they have a body organization. All living organisms, they have a definite body organization. The body organization, it can mainly be of two types. One is unicellular and the other one is multicellular. Unicellular, it means that it consists of only a single cell, and multicellular, it may mean that it is composed of either similar or dissimilar cells. And these cells, when they are in group, it is called as tissue. When the tissues get arranged in group, then it is called organ. When the organs, they work together, it is called as the organ system. And in that way, we have a full-fledged organism. So this is the second characteristic, that every living organism have a definite body organization. Now let's come to the third characteristic. It is that all living organisms have growth and development. Now, when I say growth, growth is the permanent, irreversible change either in the increase in mass or in the increase in number. Or we can say that the external changes that goes on from within the body, it is called as growth. It is generally visible to us. Whereas development is all about the internal change. A body can grow, but if our brain do not develop, we cannot say that development is taking place. Development is the inner change that takes place within the organisms. Say for example, in case of human life, we pass down different phases of our life. As a baby, as a toddler, as a school-going child, a teenager, adult, middle age, and old age. And in all these phases, we see different developmental forms. Similar developments are found in case of other animals or plants or other living organisms. And hence, all living organism shows growth and development within their body. Then let's come to the fourth characteristic, which is the ability of a living organism to reproduce or produce their new ones. And this process is only called as reproduction. Living organisms, they can reproduce by two ways. One is asexual reproduction and the other one is sexual reproduction. And in both of these two types of reproduction, we can see to form the young ones. And the production of these young ones is to continue a particular race or a species which is exhibited by all the living organisms. Now let's come to the fifth characteristic. This is called as metabolism. To understand metabolism in very simple words, it is the biochemical reactions that takes place within our body or inside our cells. So this metabolism process can be understood with the help of an example, and the simplest example of metabolism is photosynthesis, which is done by the green plants. The plants, they have a special molecule which is called chlorophyll, which can get activated with the help of light, where two inorganic molecules, carbon dioxide and water, they react with each other within the cell and they forms a new chemical which is called as glucose, that we have it as a food energy. So the production of this glucose from carbon dioxide and water with the help of light and chlorophyll is called as the building up chemical reaction, which is called as anabolism. And the breaking down process of this glucose molecule within our cell, which is generally done by all the cellular parts of the living organism, where the glucose molecule is broken down with the help of oxygen or without itself to form carbon dioxide and water by liberating energy, is called as cellular respiration, and this is called as anabolism or anabolic reaction. So this metabolism, it can be of two types: anabolic process, that is the building up process, and catabolic process, that is the breaking down process. And the two examples for these two processes are anabolic process, that is the photosynthesis in case of green plants, and catabolic process, that is the process of respiration in every cell including the plant cell. The sixth characteristic of the living organism is that all living organisms shows consciousness and irritability. Now this is the inherent capability of all the living organisms to sense their surrounding or the environment with the help of some external stimuli. These stimuli can be either cold, hotness, any kind of chemicals, touch. So every living organism reacts or shows irritability to a certain stimuli, and that reaction that an organism shows to a particular stimuli is only called as response. Say for example, we are having a bacterial disease, and to cure that bacterial disease we need to have some antibiotic. So the action of the antibiotic against that bacteria which kills the bacteria, that is the response. Say for example, when the bacteria it attacks our body and we get fever, we get other ailments because of that attack, these are response in our body. Similarly, a plant called touch me not, when we touch the plant body, the plant leaves, it droops. So that is another kind of response that the touch me not plant shows. So every living organism, they shows some response to any kind of environmental stimuli. Now let's come to the seventh characteristic of living organism, that is the power of healing and repairing. Whenever we have any minor cuts, those cut areas, they get healed and new skin or new muscles, it comes out or fills that particular part. What is that? That is healing, and the cells, they have got repaired by themselves because of certain chemical substances present in our body. So every living organism has such type of healing and repairing process that helps them to lead their life. Now let's come to the eighth characteristic, that is the power of adaptation. Every living organism have the power to adapt to a new environment, and in that adaptation they show some kind of variations, they show certain changes in their body parts. Say for example, in case of the land animals, now we have lungs for the purpose of respiration, and in case of the aquatic animals, they have gills for the purpose of respiration. So gills, they are the adaptation, or lungs, they are the adaptation in case of the land animals. And those who cannot adapt, they becomes extinct from the environment. And another such characteristic of the living organism, that is homeostasis. Homeostasis is the process of maintaining an internal body temperature which is constant, and this whole mechanism of having body's temperature in equilibrium is called as homeostasis. As for example, our internal body temperature will always be 37 degrees centigrade till we do not have any kind of fever. Whenever we have fever, our body temperature, internal body temperature, that generally rises up. Why that is for? Because of certain actions within our body. Otherwise, when we have a normal body, that remains always the same, that is 37 degrees centigrade. So this is the maintenance of the body temperature that every living organism have. So there are certain other characteristics also, such as locomotion. Then comes evolution, and the ultimate truth or the ultimate characteristics of a living organism is that every living organism is mortal. That is the ultimate truth of life. So these are some important characteristics of the living organism, and throughout this whole course of biology we are going to discuss the different aspects, the different processes that leads to all these living characteristics. And whenever a person have, or whenever an individual or an organism have this kind of characteristic, it is called to be a living organism. From the above discussion, now let's come to the conclusion that a living organism shows some common characteristics, and on the basis of those common characteristics that we can say that whether a substance is a living or not. But human beings are some exceptions in this whole world of living organism. Say for example, a man is sleeping, or a person is on a hospital bed in the state of coma and being supported by some machines and lying unconscious for several years. In all this condition, what we can see that that person is still living. Now how we can say it? Isn't that the characters that were defined above were not true? So, in order to describe a living organism, it is not that only a few characteristics are sufficient. Living organisms, they shows diverse interactive processes in which it bears self-replication, evolving and self-regulation. And only then we can say that a substance or a body is a living or a non-living thing. So this is all for the class today. So in our next class, we will come up with the next topic, which is called as systematics. Thank you.